Hello, and welcome back to Skyhaven. Um, the the beta 5.1 or 5.1.26, and my favorite part of the game, tutorials. So maybe I can figure out a couple things here that I have been unable to figure out or neglected to know or something. So anyway, as usual, I don't see a lot of people doing tutorials, but I definitely put them out there. So, general building. All right, to build facilities, roads, runways alike for Europe. I don't know how much this is involved with. You can access buildings panel by pressing one of the available building category buttons at the bottom center of the screen. Okay, so we kind of already know all that. At the start of the game, you only see two building category buttons available: buildings and roads and pathways. More categories will become available as you progress through the game. Once the building panel is open, the grid will become visible in the world. It's useful. Well, this is probably just talk. But anyway, once the building panel is open, a grid will become visible on the world. It's useful if you want to snap your buildable operations for precision. You may change the size of the grid in the grid size panel. Ooh. And it looks like it's going to be pretty much it. The buildings category contains all sorts of airport service facilities, storage buildings, and other structures that can help support your operation. The roads and pathways category contains roads for ground support vehicles, taxiways for aircraft, runways and exit entry connections, and ramps. The capital construction category contains both tools for building an airport terminal. The bulldozer button shows up after the building panel has been opened. It is used for road and taxiway removal. Okay, so we don't have a, let's come out here and do it on the map. You will see a badge indicating that there is no connection to the supply network. Your facilities that contain deliveries like fuel and cargo need to be connected to this road joint so that the goods can be delivered from outside of your airport to these facilities. Keeping the connections point in mind, you can plan your airport layout in a way that ensures a close travel distance from the network supply connection joint to your facilities. Okay? Alright. I kind of had most of that figured out. Okay. Roads and pathways in the system made up of two sets of roads that are separate from one another and interconnected at the same time. Roads and pathways, the system made up of two sets of roads that are separate from one another and interconnected at the same time. Roads are built for ground support vehicles, and taxiways are much wider type of roads that are built for aircraft. As you can build the roads and taxiways, you will see a color fill around it. This is reserved space for that road or taxiway which cannot be intersected by other buildable objects. The wide space around the taxiways is justified by the fact that some aircraft need space because of their wingspan, so that wings of bigger airliners would not collide on too closely built taxiways. Roads and taxiways can be intersected, but only in a 90-degree junction. Well, maybe that was the problem I was having. All other buildings and pathways come with built-in joints for roads and taxiways to be connected. Alright, general rules for roads and pathways layout are as follows. Exits have to be built on runways. They work as a joint between runway and taxiway. The taxiway should connect the runway exit to the ramp. The ramp has an entry and exit point. Both of them should eventually connect to the runway via the taxiway, or else these badges will inform you that in several places the ramp about not being connected to the runway. The ramp has entry points for both the taxiways and roadways, both vehicles and aircraft, or because both vehicles and aircraft need to reach the ramp. So the roads from the ramp need to connect to the facilities whose services are needed on the ramp. Okay. As you build roads and taxiways, the price and distance will be indicated, so you would be aware of this information prior to finalizing construction. You can remove the roads and taxiways with the bulldozer tool located in the building panel, but be aware that you will not get your money back for when you remove a road. If built, even... What? If evenly built by corner degrees, you may at the most have 8 road or taxiway intersections. If built evenly by corner degrees, you may at the most have 8 road or taxiway intersections. I'm kind of understanding that. Same as roads, other buildable objects also have space reserved for them, which also can't be intersected by roads or pathways. Runway additionally will indicate direction from which aircraft land on it once building. All roads and pathways have upgraded versions that are unlocked by research. Initially, the game starts you with having just grass roads and pathways. But once researched, other roads and pathways are tarmacadam, concrete, and finally asphalt materials, which have a smoother surface and bigger size for larger aircraft. If you research the vehicle road, all vehicle roads are transferred into the upgraded surface road once the research is complete, but other pathways will come as newly added buildable items in your building panel, and you will have to build them yourself and decide whether or not to keep the old pathways. Linking. Linking is the process of assigning certain facilities to certain ramps after you have built a ramp and facility for both. Connecting from them both. You will have a link. You have to link facility to the map. Then services of that facility have permission to be performed by the linking ramp. One ramp can be linked by only one type of each service facility, meaning you cannot have 2 fuel stations connected to a single ramp. Okay. Alright. Ramps can be linked to facilities through either ramp window or facility window. You may select the link to link a ramp or facility individually, or the multi-link to link all available facilities and or ramps automatically. After a link has been established, you will have the options then to relink or unlink from objects at any point. If a ramp is not connected, you'll be notified in several places with a badge that will be visible on the ramp. The schedule window will indicate it on the demand flights panel. Indicate the ramp is visible on the ramp. The schedule window will indicate it, and the on-demand flights panel will indicate it in its ramp selection section. Yeah, resource management. This, I think I was starting to have a problem with. I didn't understand. I didn't understand about cargo or whatever. Money is the primary resource of the game, used to buy facilities, vehicles, pay fines, etc. These are the main ways to obtain money. earn money performing flight services. Flights can have multiple services and need to performing, and each completed service will pay you money. Signing some contracts will gain you immediate signature bonus. If all else fails, you can get money by taking loans, which can be located in the bottom right corner of the screen. This is the method. This is a method for when you are in more desperate need of money. Okay. Workflow. This is the second most important currency. Workflow is split up into two currencies: research points, which are for researching in the research lab, and workflow points, which are used for managing supply contracts, supply management windows later in the game. Research points are basically unused, converted workflow points. Workflow points are earned by hiring clerks in the research window, which is accessible after building an office. The more offices you have, the more clerks you can hire, at a maximum of 10 clerks per office. Okay. I think I had some of this down, but there was a couple things that I was really having trouble with. Services are two major types. Ones that do not resupply and ones that do. The services that do not require resupply include hosting, boarding, disembarking, luggage, catering, water dispensing, waste treatment, cleaning, and flight check. The focus of these should be on making sure they're performed fast enough the flight can leave in time. Services that do require resupply are fuel and cargo. I was under the assumption we were loading cargo onto different planes. These services work depending on the overall amount of supply that you have at the airport. Once these supplies are depleted, the service can no longer be performed as the facilities have nothing to use. You should avoid such a scenario by network and supply set up. This is done in the management windows where you can assign contracts to several supply companies. Remember to make sure that you have a road connecting the service facilities to the airport entrance, or else the supplies will not be delivered to the proper facilities. Okay, I think I get that down. Vehicle management depends largely on your airport layout. You should keep in mind the maximum number of vehicles a facility allows to keep, the number of ramps linked to your vehicle's facility, and distances from this facility where cars are parked to the ramp where they can go perform their services. All these things to keep in mind that will affect the balance of your vehicle usage. Services. Fueling. Major service for you will need is a fuel holding and filling facility. Aircraft requiring fueling will demand fuel trucks stationed at the fuel service facility to load up a certain amount of fuel and deliver it to the aircraft. Different trucks can hold different amounts of fuel at once, so some of these vehicles will need more than one run to deliver all the required fuel amount to the aircraft. The unloading speed depends on the vehicle's abilities, the station, and the number of available loading stations at the facility. Okay. Fuel contracts. Your fuel facilities throughout the airport can hold a certain amount of fuel, overall fuel. Once this amount depletes, you will see a no fuel badge indicating it, and will need to supply the fuel station with new fuel. Fuel supply companies will grant you these services when you sign a contract with either of them. You can negotiate to have the best terms for you, and based on contract type, schedule the times that the fuel will be delivered for you. Okay. There are three types of fuel contracts: instant, flexible, and take or pay. Instant contracts are the most expensive. but they offer immediate delivery. These are good if you need a resupply here and now. Flexible contracts offer you the ability to schedule your fuel delivery times for a certain period of time. Once delivered, you will pay for the exact amount of fuel that your storages can hold. This is a more reliable long-term solution if planned carefully, and will allow you not to run into unexpected moments of fuel deficiency. Take-or-pay contracts are similar to flexible contracts, except a couple of key differences. Unlike flexible contracts, you will need to pay full price. You need to pay full price for any delivery. Even more fuel will be delivered to you. If more fuel will be delivered to you than your storages have room for, you will still need to pay for the surplus. On the other hand, take-or-pay contracts offer better process for fuel than flexible contracts. Okay, this is where I failed before. A service cargo. A service that is responsible for loading and unloading goods like mail or anything else people want delivered onto or off the airport. Later on, as the game progresses, cargo service can be developed into more and more complex service that will be able to use not only small trucks for delivery of small goods, but also for belt loaders and ULD cargo loaders to transport massive deliveries. Excuse me. Cargo requires resupply to have goods to load in the aircraft that come in with demand for the service. Use the cargo supply management window similar to the fuel supply management to sign contracts for setting up a cargo supply network. A no cargo badge will show over the facility indicating the depletion of supply if you run out of cargo. Okay, flight check. The service is among the ones being in demand fairly early on in the game. Pre-flight check is part of the service when your ramp service crew show up on the ramp to inspect the aircraft to make sure it's adequate and ready to take off before its departure. The after flight check is the same series of events, except the crew come in after an airliner is landed. The flight check service facility, referred to often in the map as the ramp service facility, and where ramp service vehicles will be stored as well. Okay. Hosting. This is a passenger service that requires additional passenger stairs for passengers to be able to board or get off aircraft. Unlike other services, hosting does not require its own facility. Instead, you may buy it directly for each ramp in the ramp window. The passenger staircase or vehicle, once purchased, will stay on the ramp. Okay. Boarding, disembarking, also a passenger service. The service is defined by buses taking passengers from the airport terminal to their flight or ramp. In the same manner, these buses go to retrieve arriving passengers from the aircraft and bring them to the terminal. Buses are stored in the vehicle depot located next to the passenger building portion of the terminal. Okay. Luggage. Just like the boarding disembarking service, is located in the terminal. It uses vehicles like tugs with dollies to transport the luggage and passengers from the terminal to the aircraft and back. I normally don't talk this much. Luggage hosting has luggage associated with a luggage associated service that is required if loading luggage needs additional belt loaders to be possible to load up into a higher aircraft. Okay. Sort of. Okay, catering. This service is located in a facility that provides meals and drinks for aircraft. Vehicles associated with this service are food delivery vehicles ranging from roof trucks to delivery trucks with liftable storages. Water dispensing. This service is designed to have water trucks to be filled up with tap water at the bulk filling stations located in the facility, and then have them transport the water out to the aircraft. Waste treatment. A service dedicated to focusing the importance of hygiene and sanitation. Waste disposal trucks stored at the waste treatment facility will come to an aircraft, collect the waste that is accumulated in a designated waste container on the aircraft. After all the waste has been removed, using a suction hose of the disposal truck, the vehicle will return to the treatment facility and dump the waste for processing at the facility. And then cleaning. The service facility sends a utility vehicle filled with cleaning crew to the ramp where the staff will go onto the aircraft to clean the interior. That was services. Research. Research. The research tree is unlocked right after the office is built. Made up of 5 separate categories of research, each of which contained innovations and or upgrades to different parts of your airport operation. Research is distributed in the window view become more advanced going from left to right. And follow a progression of history. Research uses the flask research points, which are part of the workflow currency. Initially, you start off with 25 research points, and you can use these to research anything available. But this will take you a while to do so. To speed up the research process, increase your research points by hiring clerks. In the top left part of the window, each clerk will give you an additional 10 research points. A single office can house a maximum of 10 clerks. So if you want to hire more, you're going to need to build additional offices. The Airplane Services tab contains researches for adding newer and or more efficient service facilities, vehicles, and additional operation facilities such as fuel storages and ATC towers to your arsenal, all of which are related to the services dealing with aircraft performance. The Passenger Services tab contains similar researches on the previous tab, including various facilities and vehicles, but this tab relates services dealing with passenger needs. Okay. The Personnel tab contains researches that improve the efficiency of various operations performed by workers, such as increasing vehicle performance, fastest loading speeds, etc. The Construction tab contains researches that upgrade the manual of material and sizes of your roads, pathways, provide terminal building tools, and unlock construction discounts. The Office Works Lab tab contains researches dealing with the logistics of your airport, which can improve the research process and can unlock major features like contract signing and flight scheduling. Each research block can open a window that provides a description of the research, shows you the research point cost, and an estimated time needed for it. Once the research has been started, you can keep track of its progress in the research bar at the bottom right corner of the HUD, or by coming back to the research tree and looking at the flight block. Once the research is finished, you will be notified about it with a pop-up notification as time is put to a halt. Well, there you go. I went through the tutorials. Done. Hope you enjoyed it. There's only a few minutes left. Not enough time to get in, because I want to start a new game. I don't want to go back to the mess that I created before. So we're already in season 2 of Skyhaven. No, because we were doing demo before. This is the real game. So this would be season 1. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you did, remember hit the like button. Comments, suggestions, feedback, greatly appreciated. We're not even going to start anything. Subscribe. Okay, here's the deal. I was hoping to get 150 subscribers before the end of the year. Well, I've got 150 subscribers right now. But subscriptions are very fickle for me. I have 150 right now. Tomorrow when I check, I may only have 147, 149. So, let's see if we can get 160 subscribers, before the end of the year. That's only 10 more people. Actually, it's more like 13 people. But anyway, don't, doing different stuff. I mean, I'm not the, oh, get all excited, no, not that way. So, again, I hope you're enjoying this. I thank you for watching. And in the next episode, we'll actually start working on the start working on a new airport.